What is Sigma again? Sigma is you've transcended alpha and beta, right?
I think Sigma is just people have come to the realization that really can't all be alphas, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sorry, it's just
Sure.
can't all be an alpha. You probably have a boss that's a woman, and she's an alpha.
Well,
and
I think it's probably. Oh man.
I think that I think it's just a coping mechanism because people realize that there probably are people in their lives that are more alpha than them, and therefore they want to carve a space for them to still be cool. Because no one wants to be a beta. Like no one. I can't think of anyone that wants to be like, yes, I'm a beta.
Yeah, true. Well, I'm not going to mention the company that I work for because I feel like if I do, then I have to go to this ethics committee and tell them that I have a podcast and that I associated myself with the company in that podcast, and I don't want to do that. So, but I will say when I was training, and this is a very well-known company, and they're like, X company hires the smartest people in the world, so there's always somebody smarter than you. X company hires the hardest working people in the world. So there's always somebody who's going to work harder than you. So what do you do to get ahead? And the answer to that is be good to work with. And that's what I say. And maybe this Sigma mindset. Maybe I'm going. What I'm trying to say is, there's always going to be a bigger fish. Oh, Star Wars there. There's always going to be a bigger beta. Or sorry, that's another beta fish. There's always going to be a bigger alpha. So instead of trying to out alpha, just be, the gamma. I guess further down that everyone likes to hang with. Like be a good. Wherever you are on the Greek letters, just be a good at that. That's what I say. Be a good beta. Be a beta that people like. There you go.
Yeah. And maybe it's just not the best way to think about
it's a spectrum, relations. Right? I think Sigma maybe this is Sigma. See, again, this is just Sigma mindset. It's a spectrum, right? Like, and also in certain parts of your life, you're an alpha. In certain parts of your life, you're a beta. Like at work, I'm pretty alpha. In the home, I'm very beta. With friends, alpha. With like family members, very beta. So I think I don't know. Is it code switch? I don't know. Maybe that's Sigma mindset. I don't know.
Well, it makes sense because people are usually better at certain things, not as good at other things. Some people are really good in one facet of their life and then not so much in other facets. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I think it's very human.
Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of overused. I think alpha, beta, sigma, omega. Isn't omega a thing too? Isn't that kind of like a black pill type of, it doesn't matter, it's all meaningless? I think there is an omega, and it's like you're trying to be an alluring doomer.
Yeah, it's probably something that people shouldn't take too seriously.
No.
It's something that probably
I'll say this:
high school age and middle school
worrying
age people,
about being alpha is not very alpha. And just much like Game of Thrones, if you have to tell people you're the king, you're not the king.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a true alphas, there are just not that many of them. Like if you really want to extrapolate it, it just means that like there's no one above you on it. Like that's just not. There's not that many people that we can say that about.
Yeah, just other than Nick Adams, who is like probably the best alpha male.
Obviously, Nick Adams is the most alpha person.
Yeah, I mean it's in his
on
Twitter
the entire
bio.
Planet.
So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One day we'll have to get him on the podcast, but it will be difficult for alphas like
us betas to be able to hang with such an alpha.
Well, us betas will actually fit nicely. We'll follow suit where.
This is going to be tough for me because I might be alienating some listeners, but I don't think Australians can really be alphas. Obviously, like Crocodile Dundee, pretty alpha guy. Like those guys that just go into the bush and survive in the desert or whatever. And, everyone from the Mad Max series, everyone. But that Ixion is just like, it's kind of goofy and I can't take it seriously.
Well, what was their country? How is that? Like current government started?
Just a bunch of guys that were too alpha. Well, the people that were too alpha for England, that's for sure. But
that's where they sent all the criminals. And and apparently their prisons weren't as bad as the ones in Britain, so it was actually seen as like, oh, phew.
Well, yeah, isn't it kind of like an Escape from New York like situation? You ever watched Escape from New York?
I haven't.
It's so good.
Kind of bad. It's kind of bad that I haven't.
So good. You know the premise though, that the entire island of Manhattan is a prison.
It's full of betas.
Yeah. No, the entire island of Manhattan is an open air prison, and they send their worst of worst criminals. But once you're there, you get to live however you want. Like literally, it's just it's crime ridden because it's a prison, and there's no security guards. There's no, like, they have helicopters that can come in and like shoot people and like whatnot, but they have like patrols to keep people out or keep people from Manhattan. But like essentially that sounds kind of, if you're already a criminal, that sounds kind of dope. You
could become an alpha of the penal colony. You could be an alpha there.
Yeah. Imagine if you're like, cool. listen, dog. You are too cool to be in England, and you're so cool that it's a crime. So we're going to put you on this boat, and you're going to develop a different accent from us. And you are also going to eventually invent Bluey. How's that sound? I'll be like, all right.
And you will apologize to indigenous people like profusely.
All right.
Which will...
Well, it's funny, like, why would you need to do a land acknowledgement if you're Australian? It's just like, I didn't come here by my own way. I was literally a prisoner. Make England apologize, not me.
Yeah, but then it wasn't what you. No one made you call. No one made you be the alpha there.
What else was I gonna do?
What else was I gonna do? I had no choice.
I was a criminal. Like, this is a seed of a Donald Trump. I was a criminal. What else was I supposed to do? You drove me to it. You drove me to it.
My father gave me a small donation.
You drove me to it. You drove me to it. I did everything right, and they indicted me. That's what they're saying on the boat on the way to Australia. I did everything right, and they indicted me.
And now I'm in Australia, and they're saying great things about Australia, amazing things. You wouldn't believe what we've done here.
Saying Australia first.
An Australian Donald Trump?
Well, that's Nick Adams.
Why haven't we done that yet?
That's Nick Adams.
It's Nick Adams?
Yeah. This podcast is only for us. Nobody listening. There's nobody listening that's on our same page with this.
That's every episode, Nick.
That's kind of true. Yeah. This is only for us.
At this point. I mean, we didn't have
this is friends hanging out.
What about this sound? Oh, that's cool.
What's your favorite sound? I like the guy that talks like wow.
That's what people come for, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I had a whole preamble I was going to go through, but this was much more fun. I was going to go over overused words, but this is great. What even was this? It was about alpha males and...
Well, we talked about how I have a girlfriend, which I didn't update you on.
Well, yeah, now you have to edit that part too.
It's okay. At this point, I don't have to.
Yeah.
I'm very creative with editing. People don't know.
You're the producer.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, like, every podcast is heavily edited. Like, they just don't say it. It's true.
It's very alpha. Editing is alpha. Evacuating for a hurricane is very beta, though. You should stay.
Oh, okay. So I think this is our discussion, is like, just that is become, what does it mean to be alpha? What does it mean to be beta? Just the whole conversation on that. I do like Australia thing. Now I'm interested in people that maybe were the first alphas in Australia that came from Britain. I'm interested in that historically.
I would need to read a book on Australia.
It's an interesting idea.
Besides Bluey books.
It's the history of Bluey is the history of the origination of that country. It's right. If we want to talk about the origination of Bluey, we really have to go into penal colonies and to discuss that first.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I was hoping that the alpha beta thing was going out of style. I think it is. It's a joke.
I think it is.
But the sigma thing isn't though, Nick. Like you brought that up. That's real.
Well, it is. It's the Hegelian dialectic, right? It's there's thesis, synthesis, or thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, and I think sigma is synthesis. Or you know what?
How about I do us both a favor? Yeah, go on.
No. Sorry. Sigma is antithesis because sigma is sort of an antithesis to the alpha beta discussion. So we need a synthesis where we come together and say all the Greek letters are terrible. Let's stop using Greek.
We need to stop paying reverence to this alphabet.
Oh, it's the old saying, sounds like Greek to me. All looks like Greek to me. Yeah. That's synthesis right there, baby.
I did a Google search. What is sigma?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it does talk about the origin of the Greek language, but the website that I found is called parents.com. I feel bad for these parents that their kids are coming home from school and they're saying things like sigma and alpha and all this stuff.
And you got to go to parents.com to find out.
And you got to go to parents.com to figure. You got to go to parents.com just to figure this crap out. Parents are like, God, what is this?
Oh, and it's AdWall too. Oh, okay. No, never mind.
Yeah.
I thought it was
gotta consent to the cookies, which thank you regulators for bringing that hellish existence of the internet.
Thanks, EU.
Dude. Yeah, thanks so much. We really love consenting to cookies every time we want to search something online.
Have you ever heard me do my EU bit when we work together?
Me? Yes.
Yeah.
But
okay, you have. Okay.
The listeners?
I'm just imagining the EU is always like a Dutch guy, and it's just like, let's find a way to make their internet stupider. And then like...
make it worse.
It's to find a way to make the internet bad. And then they come up with this legislation. Okay, all in favor? This legislation passed. And then with the antitrust case for Apple is like, Apple is too successful of a company. Let's figure out how to way to make them not as successful as a company. All in favor? Yeah. It's kind of like a Chicago accent Dutch, but I like it.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
The Bears.
Go Bears. All in favor.
How can we make the Bears worse?
All in favor.
Well, we drafted Caleb, so things should be doing a little better.
Yeah. I've put forth a motion for a resolution to make Caleb Williams also get ruined by coaching. All in favor? Say aye.
Yeah. That's literally a meeting that happened.
Yeah, that's literally. I mean, Eberflus sounds kind of Dutch. Anyway.
Is Caleb Williams a Sigma, though?
I think he seems kind of Sigma.
From my perspective as a psychotherapist, this parents.com says, this independence can be both empowering and isolating. So this person, this Sigma, has strong self-awareness and independence, a clear understanding of values, creativity, and motivation when pursuing goals that resonate with them. So yeah, like I said, I think it's just cope because they just want to.
As far as things, quote unquote, kids are getting into and then bringing home and parents are concerned enough to Google it, this is pretty positive. I would say, like, if your kid was
slang.
If your kid is trying to be more Sigma and you look that up, you're like, oh, so you want to be like a well adjusted person? Okay. I guess I'm okay with that.
But Nick, is this a slippery slope? Because from here, they start getting interested in philosophy, and then they start getting interested in Stoicism. Then they start getting interested in the Roman Empire. And from there, you know where that goes.
Yeah, I don't think they're going that far, Chris. You think a guy named Aiden with broccoli hair is going to be getting that far with Sigma?
No, not Aiden.
So. You know, Aiden, Caden, Maiden, and they've got the like floofy hair up top with one earring. You know, he's not reading theoretical philosophy. Come on.
If you're a true Sigma, then yeah, you don't really need to because you're independent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. So I follow a lot of teacher accounts. We will talk about Star Wars at some point. I follow a lot of teacher accounts because my wife, of course, is a teacher. And there's a lot of shots of whiteboards of banned words in like middle school and high school. And like I've seen a couple of these, and Sigma is usually one of those words that are banned. It's like a joke. It's not like, hey, this word is actually banned. Don't talk about it. It's just like, hey, you dumbass kids talk about this way too much. Stop saying this word.
Yeah, just keep saying it.
Like one of them is like gyat. You know that word? Gyat.
Yeah.
Like Sigma is usually up there. God, what's the new ones this year? It's so uninteresting. I think the youth are very uninteresting. And it's not even... Oh yeah, demure and brat. You know, I'm sure that's up on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
It is not even like because you can spend 5 minutes on the internet and understand Gen Z pretty well, just by osmosis. And it is not even that I'm jealous that I don't understand them or something like that. I understand them. I just find them very uninteresting.
Spoken like a true millennial.
Spoken like a Sigma. Anyway. Well, Chris, I came here today because, well, you don't really have much of a choice. I invaded your world, and I'm here with my my garrison, and this is a world that the Empire has not reached yet, and so we're here just to see what your natural resources are and see if what we can snatch up for our own. But meanwhile, we're here. We also you have a lot of humans, a lot of humanoids, and we'd like to give you the benefit of the doubt, like before we blow you up and before we, start to subjugate your people. Like, would you just like to willingly join the Empire? So first and foremost, yes or no, are you going to join the Empire?
Well, before I give my answer, I just to say I appreciate your honesty. Most countries, when they are going to take your loot and take your women and all your spoils, they usually say like it's for some really moral, it's for like a great cause. Like we have to do it because there's terrorists there.
Yeah.
We have to do it because of,
But you are the same race as me, so I'm going to at least let you it's like when a CEO gets fired, they get a nice golden parachute. You're like the same race, you're a human, you speak the basic tongue of the rest of the galaxy. We'll at least get you, you can fly the flag by your own accord first. So that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to kind of soften that.
Okay. So I can join you, or I can basically get, enslaved, destroyed. Is there really another option?
Well, there's lots of other options. So like, again, I'm here as, think of me as HR of the galaxy, because in many ways the Empire is the HR of the galaxy. So we're here to organize. We're here to hear you. We see you. We feel you, and you're valid.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, we'll just like to tell you, like, your safety is our highest concern, and we will be sure to get rid of any rebel contingent on your planet. In fact, you could even just say that the other tribe on the other side of the planet that doesn't look like you is rebels, and we will get rid of them for you. So it's a protection racket. Some might say it's kind of pejorative. It's a protection racket. You're willingly going to give us your resources for this protection, but at the same time, we will give you the protection. And we will get rid of those, undesirables, let's call them.
Okay.
Think about that.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that this meeting has made me a little uncomfortable and has given me a lot of anxiety. Now, I am neurodivergent, and I do have a diagnosed anxiety disorder. But that all being said, I think that this is a good offer. I think I have a lot of skills that you might be helpful to the Empire.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of those skills?
Well, I'm a great people person, great with people.
Okay.
I theoretically, I do not like other species very much. Like, don't call me xenophobic or anything like that, but I just think they belong on their own planets, right?
You're in great company here. We do not really believe, like, unless you look like a person that walks on two legs and has two arms and has regular skin that's not too mucusy. You can have a horn here and there and have some different colors. That's fine. We'll let it slide here and there, but really we just want humanoids.
Okay. That's great. That worked great for me, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to pull out a tentacle, I mean, right. If you have a tentacle somewhere, now's the time to tell me.
No tentacles, honestly. Yeah. We don't really have a lot of tentacles here. In my neighborhood, we don't really have a lot of that. I'm just thinking, like, are there any benefits? Like, do you guys have like paid time off or anything like that? Like, I know it's not. Yeah.
I mean, you get a day like once a quarter. You get a day off for sure.
Once a quarter. Okay.
Yeah. So let me tell you this. You're going to see the galaxy with us. Like you enlist with us right now. I mean, we got complete control of the core worlds. Coruscant, you've always wanted to go to Coruscant, right? Who hasn't? You want to get on a cruise and go check it out? Get on the Star Destroyer is basically a cruise ship. So, you'll see the galaxy and you'll get to subjugate, visit pretty much any system that you would like to be a part of. The best of the core worlds is what we have to offer you.
Okay. Yeah. Like just the core worlds though, right? I feel like that might make me, I mean, I do love to travel.
Mid-rim is about
I just get a little scared.
Yeah. Well, we kind of stay out of the outer rim, especially the far reaches, because that's hut space. We kind of have a deal with them. We sort of stay out of their way. They stay out of ours, So we won't go to those places like Tatooine or
because I do love to travel. Just a little bit about me. I love to binge Netflix.
Great. You mean the HoloNet? The
HoloNet, yeah. I think I like to binge the HoloNet.
HoloNet and chill, as the kids say.
That was a good one, sir. That was a wonderful, hilarious joke you just made.
Thank you. I try.
I also, I think you guys would call them cantinas. I love to try. I love to go to cantina hop, if you will.
Oh, I like that. We have a good list somewhere of like the best ones to join. The best ones to visit. Are you familiar with podcasts? We got a couple of guys
I love podcasts.
A couple of guys did a great breakdown of that. So I'll point you. I'll send you a link later.
Okay, yeah. I hope hope it's like not anything that's like too loose with the canon. I like No, I like to keep things no legends or anything like that. Just okay, good. So that's good. Yeah, I love Emperor Palpatine's daily podcast. That one is great. He's got a good one. I'm sure that you guys listen to that every day.
Yeah. Yep. The put on from the Coruscant Times, of course. Yep.
Yeah, the Coruscant Times, and he said a lot of scary things about the Jedi. It completely changed my tune. I thought the Jedi were good. I thought that they were a force for protecting the galaxy. And after listening to his podcast, I was like, this is completely
no.
He was like, dude, last year's conspiracy theories are this year's headlines in the news. I was like, that is so crazy, dude.
Oh no, totally. They have their lightsabers pointed directly at you. And so we're going to make sure we have, our proton torpedoes directly aimed at their hospitals and schools. So,
oh my God, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
that makes me so happy.
That's where they hide. They hide the lightsabers and they hide the weapons of mass Jedi destruction underneath. In the secret tunnels that they keep underneath there. So we're definitely going to root those guys out. Don't worry. And you know what? If you join our crew today, we'll ensure that you get a good front lines. Now, by the way, I'm going to sell you on this. Mm-hmm. You don't want to join those rebels. Let me tell you that, because you seem like a smart guy. You seem like you're pretty savvy, and I saw that you have some pretty good reflexes there. Did you ever think about being a pilot?
Honestly, I'm a big gamer. Love to play video games. I'm pretty good at piloting in Battlefield, so I think that'd be great.
I just want to tell you, when we talk about, and I say we, when all the people of the galaxy talk about the Academy, they're talking about the Imperial Academy. They're not, the rebels don't have any such thing as an academy. So any of the best rebels fighters, if there are any, which I don't really believe they exist, they trained with us first. So You're not going to train with them. There's no schools there. There's nowhere that you can learn to be a pilot. They learned through us. So, and I think we could get you on the fast track right away. Start you off with some low infantry, maybe invade a world or two, and then we'll see where it goes.
I mean, it sounds like they have like cheap knockoff, like they're kind of like a cheap knockoff of what you guys are, right? Because they were the original. You guys are the originals.
Uh-huh.
And with how they run their army, just from what I've heard, I mean, you've invaded my world. I mean, which
we're here, aren't
so.
we? Yeah, I know. Yep.
Yeah, rightfully so. I mean, there could be some rebels here. I mean, and if this planet has to be destroyed because of that, like, is that really your fault? Like, is it on us?
Sometimes you got to do things that are uncomfortable. That's how I'm going to say. Sometimes you have to make the hard decision.
Sometimes you have to reach out, extend yourself a little bit, do something that might seem a little crazy and diabolical in the moment, but is better for the world.
We don't do it because we want to. We don't do it because we celebrate it or anything like that. We do it because we have your best interest in mind. We want your resources, your resources to be blunt. We want
talents and my abilities, right?
We're going to take them. Yeah. Not so much your talents and ability. I'm talking about the ore that's underneath the crust of the entire surface that we're definitely going to strip mine and blow the tops off of all of your mountains and stuff like that. But when we do that,
it sounds kind of evil, to be honest.
We do that.
Sounds kind of bad
with care and again with empathy. Okay. With empathy, we are the most moral, extractive colonists in the galaxy. So.
Okay, well,
we were voted most moral by 9 out of the 10 publications in the galaxy, and that 10th one doesn't exist anymore because we put it out of business. So really, 9 out of the 9 top agencies say we are the most moral army in the galaxy.
It was probably fake news.
Yeah, they were. They weren't like us. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we have fake news here too, but
well,
I'm thinking that'll get taken care of.
Once again. Point 1, safety. We'll get rid of those. We'll get rid of those people for you. You don't have to worry about them anymore.
I'm not really, I'm hearing a lot of what you're saying, and it sounds like you're saying is that you're really against democracy, civil rights, freedom of speech, right? Like freedom of travel, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, to a point, to an extent, we really, we feel that it's against your best interest for those things to exist.
Is it? It gets hard, to do all that thinking yourself.
Yeah, if we think for you, I mean, you stay within the bounds of, we give you the boundary lines, we put up the guardrails for you. You stay within those, and you can do pretty much whatever you want between, again, extractive mining to becoming a stormtrooper to being a fighter pilot to essentially just running the bureaucratic cogs of this machine. That's those options. Go wild with them.
Well, I do love bureaucracy, so I'm excited about that.
Do we ever have bureaucracy for you? Again, you look like a smart guy. You got glasses on. I feel like you could probably do stuff with the computers.
Oh yeah. Oh, big time.
Oh yeah. Well, we've got a whole cassette futurism room with dials and tapes and lights and stuff that you could take a look at again. Once you're done, in between your studies with the flight schools and getting all that stuff under your belt, we've got plenty of buttons for you to push that kill millions. I'm sorry, that regulate.
Sorry, what was that?
Economics
about killing millions?
No. Regulate economic sectors of the galaxy.
Okay.
There's lots and lots of analytics. I mean, we're a data-driven company, really.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as it's data-driven, I mean.
Yeah. It's something that we had put on all of our websites for about 15 years now.
Mm-hmm. I will say that one thing that, you asked if I had a lot of skills, what kind of things do I bring to the table? Well, I'd say because I drink Magic Mind. Yeah, that's right. I know you probably have not heard of that in your corner of the galaxy.
Is that like blue milk?
It is a liquid, but it's really not like blue milk at all because it's more of a mental performance aid. It's a mental performance shot. Blue milk is gonna make you feel good, but you're not gonna be feeling good the next day or even later that evening. With Magic Mind, you just take one little shot and you actually get vitamins and nutrients. And as someone that's being recruited in the Empire, it's giving me, I think, an advantage over everyone else.
Wow. What kind of advantage?
Well, I'm going to have more mental clarity. And everyone else that you're recruiting from here they're all hooked up on coffee. They're drinking it constantly.
Calf, as they say?
Calf. Yeah, you guys call it calf. We call it coffee. And people drink about like they drink like a pot a day. And they get jittery, they get stressed. They're addicted to it. But with Magic Mind, maybe you just have 1 or 2 cups of coffee and then have a little Magic Mind. You're good for the day.
Yeah, and also when we're talking about calf, it doesn't have ashwagandha in it. But Magic Mind does.
No, but that's right. Ashwagandha, not in coffee, not in blue milk, but it is in Magic Mind. Not only that. But did I mention it also has lion's mane, mushroom, chlorophyll, matcha, which is what's keeping that caffeine going throughout the day. It's got B vitamins, L-theanine, turmeric. All these things are good for cognition, mental, and physical performance, Nick.
Dude, did you know that they have a sleep elixir now? This sounds like this was scripted. No, I'm literally finding out about this, and now I want to.
It's not scripted. Yeah, I do. No. I did see that. We might have to talk to Magic Mind about the sleep elixir. Maybe they can tell us more about that. Sounds pretty sweet. I like to sleep. I want to sleep when I want to sleep, and when I'm during the day, I don't want to sleep. I want to be awake.
It's kind of funny to talk about, just like, how we're saying like Magic Mind is replacement. Like, don't drink a pot of coffee. You just have a couple cups of coffee and then have Magic Mind. It's like, don't smoke a huge bowl. Have Magic Mind instead.
Stop doing drugs.
Stop hitting your THC vape when you could just do Magic Mind.
We don't want to tell people what to do other than to have Magic Mind. That's the only thing
I'm telling you. I am telling you.
Okay, Nick's telling you to drop the pipe, stop drinking, get to bed on time.
Stop fucking smoking, you weird slacker.
Yeah, get back to work. No one wants to work anymore.
Yeah.
But that being said, seriously, you guys should check it out. We have a discount code for you. If you go to magicmind.com/Star Wars, you can get up to 48% off your first subscription, or you can just try it out with one purchase for 20% off of that with the coupon code Star Wars 20 at checkout. We'll have this in the show notes for you as well. But yeah, it's going to be great for you guys. Nick and I, we use it. We love it.
Excellent.
Okay, that's great. I mean, I have a lot of, like I told you, I have a lot of different skills that I think could be useful to the Empire. I'm a people person. I show up to work every day.
Can I ask what kind of experience you got? Like, what's run me through your resume here.
Yeah. So let me just look through here. Yeah, haven't really updated my resume recently. Of course, I was happy. I wasn't really looking for anything, but like I said, so I was in 2023 Q1 top salesman of the month. For all salesmen that were in the bottom 5, I was the top. So I got that. I am really interested in learning how to code. I'm just really enthusiastic about the idea of coding. I don't really code, but to me it sounds, and especially AI. Now I don't actually know how to, deploy models or create them or anything like that, but I'm really interested in AI.
You're really interested in having your emails written with AI.
Yes. Like okay. I'm not very good at outreach.
Got it.
That's part of my job is to.
We got droids for that.
Call prospects.
We have droids for
great.
that. Don't you worry.
That's great. That's amazing. Yeah, yep. But I'm good at like delegating to the droids. I think I'd be good at that.
Yeah, we really do need some delegation skills. I mean, a lot of our troops have, 4 or 5 people under them, and those people have 4 or 5 people under them. Those people have 4 or 5 people under them. Those people have 4 or 5 people. So, like, you've got a plethora of options for that. And we really need somebody to really crack that whip, so to speak.
I mean, if anything, it sounds efficient, right? You have all those people that, all those different layers of bureaucracy. It creates efficiencies, and it also creates accuracy.
Seems like you get it. So let me ask you this. Lived in universes, droids and starships that have had some carbon scoring. What do you think about that? Like dirty looking freighters.
Oh, dirty looking freighters. Yeah. Now, are you talking about the ones that potentially are transporting contraband to rebels?
Maybe, possibly. Cells? Yeah. Not ruling it out.
Yeah. They could just be a business, a legitimate business, but
listen,
on the other hand,
we are all about small businesses, so we are not looking to get in the way of entrepreneurs. Really, we're not.
Oh yeah. Like, not only are you guys bureaucratic, but also entrepreneurial is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, working for us is basically like being like an entrepreneur. Like,
you can be your own boss.
Everything you do. Well, no, I just told you about the bureaucracy. Everybody,
that is true.
You're essentially going to do exactly what we tell you to do, but within that is a bunch of innovation, and also you have certain places that you need to be at certain times. But again, once you're at those places, you pretty much do what we tell you to do. Yeah, but after that, it's innovation. Totally.
Yeah, so back to your question, it's obvious that anything kind of freighter like that, it's just going to be a smuggler. And you take one good look at him and you see that it's not a human, and you can board. I mean, you can at least board. And probably if you ask them, which you don't really have to because they're probably not in a sector they're allowed to be in, but if you ask them,
that's why we pulled them over to begin with, right?
Exactly. It's not like it's profiling. It's just data-driven insights. So if you were to go and ask for their transponder codes, which they wouldn't have, it would obviously be out of date.
And we noticed you didn't have your fraternal order of the Empire sticker on the back, so we pulled them over anyway. Okay, I just wanted to see because we have the best and the brightest ships in the galaxy. Like, they are so bright gray. Like, you've never seen so many polished gray pieces of steel ever.
Stormtroopers are not Bantha Poodoo. I know that that has gotten out there.
A slur.
It's been a big viral thing, but it's a slur to us.
It's a slur. They can.
I feel like I'm sorry. I said us already. Can you?
Yeah, you're really.
I feel like I'm part of the family. I don't know. It's just this is going great.
You're really taking on that imperial spirit, So we've got the best technology. Again, those rebels, they take what they can steal and borrow, and they take things from a scrap heap and they put it back together, and it looks lived in. It looks like it's actually used. We prefer sterile, squeaky clean environments to keep everything in tip-top shape. In fact, we are much more worried about the floors being waxed than we are about having handrails on the side of really tall, steep precipices that you could fall off of. So again, we are all about that entrepreneurial spirit. We're not going to let safety get in the way of innovation.
That's beautiful. I mean, you want to get on board with us. You don't want to get left behind,
Us, you're already saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm being a little presumptive. I know there's a lot of formality that has to go into these interviews, but
we're looking at seriously, there's a whole line of people behind you that we, captured.
But, the Death Star was destroyed, so I know that you guys need people. So I know that.
Sorry, what?
I heard on the Palpatine's daily podcast that it might have been an inside job. So I'm just saying.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He kind of floats things. He's a little crazy. I know he's a little wild. He likes to float things around like that.
Yeah. Okay, so
can you confirm though? Like, I'm sorry, I just have to ask. Like, was it an inside job? Like, it's cool. Like,
I don't know anything about any Death Star being destroyed. As far as I know, that it's still there.
Okay. Hey, it's probably just things get around.
This interview was going so well. I hate to.
No. I'm sorry. Like I said, hate democracy, hate freedom. I love order, and control of all systems within Imperial reach.
Well, if this sounds like something that would interest you, I just want to say out here right now, would you take this position, or would you like us to kill you?
Oh, I don't want to die. I want to live. I would love to join, I guess, the Empire. Well, I would love to join.
Listen, you don't have to tell me right now. We'll give you the night in the cell to think about it, because your wife and kids are here too, also in the cell with you. So talk it over with them. Again, you'll all die. It's not just you.
We're going to a cell. A cell?
Yeah, of course.
I thought we were cool. Like it sounded like I had the job. You're putting me in a cell now. Like, what's going on?
Well, we can't really let you go back to your home, can we?
Wait, what are those Star Destroyers doing over
gone.
here? Why are there so many of them?
Your town kind of was right on top of some very rich reserves. It's already gone.
Oh, Jesus. I mean,
is that going to be?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Is that a deal breaker for you?
I mean, I think this will be fine. I think this will work for me. We still have some details to sort out, obviously.
Yeah. I figured that would be okay for you to, go back to your holdings on this ship.
Okay. I guess okay.
Yeah. Figured.
Okay. Yep. Well, it looks like your guards are taking me.
Yeah.
Why is this man's hand is around? Is pulling me back?
It's for your own safety. Yeah.
Wow.
But no, this was great. It was really great. Great meeting you and great talking to you. I think that you have a lot to put on the table. But again, think our offer over. And again, if you don't have an answer for us in the morning, we will just kill all of you.
Okay. I mean, I guess the answer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
You don't have to tell me right now.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you.
And scene. Hey, that was fun. We did a little fun role play.
Man, that Imperial guy was a jerk.
Man, he really was putting on. So I guess
laying into that guy.
So you gave me a kind of an assignment, just like, all right, let's recruit for, like, I don't even know how we would do this for. I don't. That sounded very Trump. I don't even know how we would do this for the Rebel Alliance, but in this aspect, I thought, okay, what could I actually say to you? I mean, obviously, there's plenty of worlds in Star Wars that were not coerced to join the Empire. There are plenty of them that joined willingly, in fact, enthusiastically, and were all about it. And definitely, Hunger Games style, did not have to do anything in terms of subjugating their population or forced labor or extractive economies and all that kind of stuff. Like, some of the core worlds just got to keep on being who they were. So obviously you could do a different role playing and just be like, hey, I'm just a normal kid from Coruscant. What movement should I join? But that's not the route we took.
Yeah, no, I like the route that you took. There would have been a scenario though. That would have been a scenario like that you said. If you were not in a core world, if you were on more of a outer rim, even though the Empire had varying control over different planets, different systems, they would go there and they would try to do exactly what you just said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or, and of course, like in some cases, they wouldn't even give you the choice and just kind of like, all right, you're all dead. But, they wanted they needed the bodies in some cases. So they, of course, did that. But for the most part, there were a lot of systems that the Empire worked for. And one of the cool things with Ahsoka, was it Ahsoka or Mandalorian, where they were sort of going through, I guess it was more of the Mandalorian, where they're going through like how hard it was to do the business of galactic organization when you weren't doing it with a heavy hand anymore, So in a way, the pitch, the value proposition of the Empire was very appealing, even without coercion and even without, hey, join us or we're going to kill you.
Yeah, and if you were, I mean, I don't know how much credit we want to give the Empire, but they might have recruited people that they could actually see talent with. And if you were going to a planet that had well-to-do families, they probably didn't want to be killed and enslaved, and they would be like, look, we'll do whatever you need. Like, hey, we got smart people, we'll do your jobs. But for some people, they might have said, hey, we'll send you to a mine and you can be a slave and dig up whatever kyber crystals for the rest of your life, or you could become a stormtrooper. Like, tell us which one it is. So who could blame him for wanting to be a stormtrooper? I wouldn't want to be in a mining pit for the rest of my life.
There's plenty of people where, once again, they actually had, like, my education point was true, where they had control over the universities and all of the academies of the galaxy. So you weren't really like learning necessarily from the Rebel Alliance, unless there was, worlds that were rebelling or whatnot. But like, they had a corner on the economy. They had a corner on education. They had a corner on whether or not you had a job. And so, like, as of all empires, real and on our Earth, there was perks to going with them.
Yeah, so that's a good point. The rebellion, their type of recruitment would be more like a spy or something like that. Or, if you want to give a real world comparison, it could be someone like in the United States, maybe 50s or 40s, 60s, whatever. And they'd be like, hey, man, like, do you want to be a communist? Like, we're starting a revolution, man. Nothing ever crazy like the rebellion happened, but you're inside of a nation and you're trying to take over it from the inside. So you're not like waving your hand and being like, hey, it's Rebel University over here.
Yeah. It's a much tougher sell too. Like, same thing with like communist revolutions or socialist revolutions or the Rebel Alliance. Like, it's like, we're going to make your life very uncomfortable for a while. Like, you have like to really be bought in / be a true believer in all of this, because things aren't going to be so easy. Like, buying bread, like, you think about, I like to joke around, is if the revolution is happening, is civil war happening? Well, if you can go to Taco Bell and get a meal, civil war isn't really happening, right? Like, the conveniences of the world begin to dry up if you are in a revolutionary kind of mindset, right? If you are going to say, I'm going to topple this government because it's evil or it's killing people or I don't believe in it, whatever, blah, 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 you also have to take into account, like, well, life's excuse me.
This is what happens when you talk about communism. I mean,
they're pointing the heart attack gun at me. This is what happens when you take a revolutionary stance. You are also going to have a very uncomfortable life. So immediately, even if I'm not looking at, hey, you, Chris, I'm going to kill you if you don't join us, it's like, well, yeah, what other option do I have? Because I want my comforts. I want to be able to go to the corner shop and get a gallon of blue milk when I want to. I want to have that job. I want to have that bank account,
Yeah. So, yeah. And the interesting thing that you talked about was, like, if the Taco Bell is still going on, if it's still open, I can still go to the grocery store. I can still get Netflix. That's sort of, to me, more of a populist mindset, because you're talking about the average person feeling comforts they used to have been taken away. But if you're talking about elites would be like, hey, I used to have this level of power and I used to have this level of status in my country, and you've taken it away. Otherwise, like, if I have everything that I used to have, then I'm good. But that's like the elite class would recruit from the person that's like, hey, Taco Bell they're not open. They don't have Baja Blast anymore. Isn't that crazy?
Well, yeah, and that's in
the
real world.
Baja Blast when I was in charge. Or if I was in charge, bro, Baja Blast.
Have more. All day.
Have way more of it.
Way more of it. There was, real world situations where, like, the bourgeois class or even some of the ruling class would be the ones organizing some of the worker labor movements because of that. Because it's not necessarily that I'm raging against the machine. It's just like I'm not a part of the machine, so I am not benefiting from this as much as I could. So I might as well join the other side, right? And so, and I think we see this in Andor a lot, especially with the guy who has the antiquities shop. Like he kind of seems like he's upper class, like royalty. Yeah. And also from like Mon Mothma, of course, she is like a senator and a very affluent elite that has basically joined the revolutionaries. And I mean, she kind of was the leadership of
she isn't a revolutionary. Like, exactly. It's the revolution needs leaders. So you need people that are in positions of power that are actually aligned to it
and have that experience, because you have to be able to set up your shadow government later too, right? So that's exactly what, and maybe that's what we're going to see in Andor season 2, season 3, whatever. But I think that it takes all kinds to join the Empire, but also sort of takes all kinds to have a rebellion. So I suppose in our part 2, we're going to have a harder time doing this, I think.
I don't know. I think we'll think about it, but I think what you were touching on this, there needs to be an alternative that they're saying is available, because otherwise no rebellion, no revolution. Someone has to be saying that maybe they refer to the past. That can sometimes be like a fascist thing where they'd be like, hey, back in the old day, it was like this. We want to return, or like a conservative reactionary thing, right? But then, the other revolutionary part is like, look, it doesn't have to be like this. It can be like this. It can be better. And so someone like Mon Mothma is like, look, it doesn't have to be like this. And I know that I'm the person to lead it. Kind
of a great point too, because I think a lot of the novels go into this, especially like the in between Return of the Jedi, Mandalorian stuff, because the Mandalorian takes on place like 5 years after Return of the Jedi, something pretty quick. There's a lot of talk where some people want to go back to what it was like and they literally call themselves the New Republic. But then Mon Mothma herself is talking a lot too. She's like, we can't actually go back, because if we go back, we're going to go right back to an empire again. Like
we'll run into the same problems that we had before.
And so there's some boring, gory details about what they do to like not have a standing army anymore, and how they like don't actively join any conflicts, and that frustrates a lot of people, right? That's my first point about safety is I made a joke about it, and I made it kind of into a protection racket. But in real life, or not in real life, in Star Wars life, there was safety in the Empire because you had a standing army that was going to eradicate danger. Now, danger could have just been tribes you didn't like. It could have just been people with horns you didn't like. But at the same time, it was also probably eradicating peoples that were causing war. Whereas, this revolutionary mindset is, and having the whole thing with the New Republic doesn't have a standing army, you're leaving yourself
in the Empire,
up for...
You have safety from your peers. Your peers won't probably hurt you because there's no incentive, because everything is so orderly and so crime is so well enforced. But the only person, what you have to fear is the Empire. So you don't have to worry about people below you, or like, someone on the street crime or something like that, like getting mugged. But there's one authority that like you cannot mess with, because if you do, like, they'll just like, there's no tolerance.
Yeah. Which you can understand why some people would find that appealing,
Right. So some people would be like, okay, I would rather, some people are like, look, I feel like I am afraid of the cops. Right. Like some people are like, I'm afraid of the cops. And
then there are a lot of people who put Blue Lives Matter signs up in their yard, just like, I've never had a problem with the cop. It's like, well, yeah, you haven't had a problem with the cop because you've literally never interacted with one. You've never had to. Yeah, and like, if you had to, it's because you're on the other side of it, right? Because you were on the one where like your property was violated in some way, or something was stolen, or there's a noise ordinance complaint, blah blah blah, and you're the one who did the complaining. Like that, that's like such a not argument to me. It's like, of course you haven't had a bad interaction with the Empire. You work lockstep with them, and you don't have something that they want, right? You're just, or I guess you don't have like a resource that they want, and you weren't in their way. So of course you haven't had a bad experience with them. You're the beneficiary of Empire, not the fuel, not the people getting trampled underfoot.
Yeah, you live in the suburbs and you're like, I don't worry about police brutality. Like I want them to keep my neighborhood safe. And then people that live in the city and they're like, I actually think that cops are, they're doing bad stuff, and I'm scared to even call them because will that just make things worse or something like that, There's people that have that. There's different sides of the equation.
This got a lot deeper at the end here.
That's where it gets interesting, though. It's like if you want to give it a steel man, right, of what the Empire provides, because we were doing that, like you were pretending to be the Empire, and you'd be like, look, it's really safe.
Yeah, as
long as you don't mess with me, because if you mess with me, you will die. You will be in prison.
I will keep your neighbors in line.
Yeah. You can help. I will take care of order, but
in the same way that I'm keeping you in line.
Yeah, you are also in line, so you don't have to worry about anyone. No one has to really worry about you. On the liberal side, it's like, or on the rebel side, the Republic side, they're going to be more tolerant, so they might not go as hard on you. But you might have to be more worried about the average person doing something, because there's just a little bit more acceptance for, okay, they did a bad thing, but do we need to give them a second chance, right? Yeah. In the Empire, there's no second chances.
No, yeah, that's a good point. So how do we wrap this up?
So how do you could decide for yourselves, listener, which one would you rather live in? Would you rather live in the Empire? Do you like the New Republic? I mean, the Empire, you can't speak your mind. You can't freedom of speech.
But you got a job.
But you got a job.
And you got you got probably price fixing. I would imagine the Empire is very much like a kind of like a Soviet Russia kind of thing, where like exactly what the price of bread's going to cost on what planet.
Yeah, everything's steady Eddie until there could be a breaking point, and that becomes really bad. Now in the Republic, it can be like a waves constantly, but they're smaller, and you might just have a little bit of rock in the boat, but nothing's capsizing it. So you just have to you got to be a little more like willing to go with the waves in the New Republic. And maybe that's fun, right?
Man, things to talk about, things to think about.
But what? Damn it. You know what you actually, let's think of a segue, Nick. We forgot to talk about Magic Mind.
Yeah. Oops.
We need to do that. I'm going to think of something. I'm trying to think of like what our transition was. So you started recruiting me. And with that discussion, we got into, Nick, we got into philosophy. I mean, we started off having a goofy time talking about alphas and betas and sigmas.
Mm-hmm.
We went
That's
into,
what you can expect from Back to Star Wars.
You can expect that from Back to Star Wars. You try to recruit me to the Empire very successfully. I mean, you went in with the carrot and the stick, and then
you got to end with the stick. It's very Mafia, where it's just like, well, if you do this, it's definitely going to benefit you, and if you don't do this, I kill you.
And then we went into like the philosophy of revolutions and reactionary insurrections, and what do they all mean? That's what we're here for.
The rebels really are reactionary revolutionaries, because they do really want to go back to the Republic.
Like, can we just get back to the Old Republic? Can we get back to Star Wars?
Go back to the
old days.
Are
we a reactionary Star Wars podcast?
So are they the Proud Boys?
We just want to get back to Star Wars, man.
I just want to get back to the good times in the 50s, before civil rights.
Oh no, Nick! Don't say that. Don't say that, Nick. You can't go back.
It's a dog whistle.
But anyways, yeah, that is. But we've been back to Star Wars. This has been Chris Higgins.
And I've been Nick Oswald. We didn't introduce ourselves at the beginning, of course.
as we tend to not. But I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. May the force be with you.
Bye-bye.